Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Deus Ex. You know what I forgot to do? I went to a gas station, and I forgot to blow it up! Silly me. Well, let's go correct that now. Might not be too much gas left in those pumps, but... well, it's enough to destroy the canopy thing. And if there was anybody underneath that, they would have died. Neat. Well, that's all that I have to do here. I tried talking to the bums down there, but actually none of them have anything new to say. Man. Alright, Chuck. Get us out of here.
Good. Can you take...
In your usual, slow, meandering fashion. I really should have cut this out. Oh well, it's in here now. Right, here we go.
Remember, this is how Tiffany was captured. You need to steal a mini-sub to get to the Ocean Lab. The base is a series of interconnected modules, with the subs in the modules submerged just offshore.
Alright, so the deal is that there are actually two MJ-12 facilities involved here. Right now, we are at the one on the California coastline. The one that we actually are interested in is on the edge of the continental shelf, which is some 100 or 200 miles offshore. And now that the nearby robot is dealt with, let's see if there's anybody else we can reach from here. Flamethrower guy. Sniper guy, who actually almost saw me there. Well, no, not almost. He did see me. Almost got a shot off. That's what I meant to say. And there's a guy down there, too. Kind of concerned, though. I seem to recall there are people up on top of the main module there. Man, I do not regret the points I put into heavy weapons. I can run at full speed. I can blow up big bots with just one gap round. Anyway, that's the underwater module over there. And what I was just looking at are a couple of scuba divers. Waters patrolled by divers, like it says there. That's fairly simple. Basically, there's a ladder over there where the divers are, and I can climb up that and skip a whole big chunk of this map. But that's no fun. Plus, well, fighting the divers isn't very fun either. All you got to use is your damn crossbow. Also, that is one hell of a seawall. I guess he had the door to the key to the front door there. I don't know why there's that little divot in there. It's not actually used for anything. Anyway, looks like this facility for some reason has a shack to one side. Also, that guy had a Gap rocket launcher. So it's a good thing I nailed him first. Anyway, that's 2 picks, so nuts to that. Instead, we're going to use these pipes here. You cannot actually climb up them. But with some super speed, you can jump. You need to use it to get all the way up, though. For some reason, these shacks all have trap doors on the roof. I don't really get why that would be useful. Ah, but keys. I guess this would be the peaceful way of obtaining a key to get into the front door. Also conveniently had a key to get the hell out of that thing. And now, the staircase.
You'll probably come across scientists of mine who were captured and forced to work in the genetics labs. Maybe they'll lend a hand.
Looks shorter on the outside.
That's it.
Oh, that was easy. Guess there's nobody else around. Except a couple of spooked scientists, but... well, that's ordinary. My camera might be a little bit of trouble, though. Not much to do in this room.
Something tells me you don't have permission to be down here.
Don't even think about setting off an alarm.
I was just going to suggest that you avoid the guards. You could swim through this tank to a feeding hole in the storage room. The hatch code is 1223. Watch out for the Karkian, though.
Great. Maybe I'll give it a try.
Someone should expose what's going on here. This laboratory's treatment of animals is abominable. They're doing an exhaustive study of morphology, which leads to horribly deformed creatures. Creatures without limbs, fins, eyes, heads. No one cares if the poor monsters live or die, or how long they suffer. I'd report this facility myself, but right now I need the job. This laboratory's treatment of animals is abominable.
Guess it really is a terrible economy out there. So we are doing horrible things to people, but, you know, so long as I'm getting paid, I could care less. Well, so much for the Karkian.
Someone should expose.
I'm more interested in going in this direction. So, gonna put the camera out of its misery. Another silencer just
I'm working.
sitting out in the open.
I'm working. You aren't supposed to be in here.
Now this... I do not think there is a code for this door. Because it is a bonus storage room. In fact, I could be wrong, but I believe that there is only the one way into this room also. Oh well. Now this room actually has several ways out. There's the way back, there's the way forward, and there's the way down. Ooh. I've been needing a lamp. Nothing else around here, looks like. So let's see what the ventilation shaft has in store for us. Dead end at one end there. Here we are. Some sort of command center down here. Ah, and this must be the feeding tube that she was talking about. In fact, I'm a little curious. Let's just see where all this leads. Oh. Actually leads directly back here. Still, it's a good thing I've come. I'll never say no to 50 skill points. But, well, it's not as extensive or as secret-filled as I was hoping. Still, it's an interesting way of exploring.
Checking the area. Possible contact.
Uh-oh. I wonder where that guy could be. Well, that's not him.
Could be something here. I'll find out who it is.
Oh, he's downstairs. Wonder how I missed him. Come on then. Man, these guys either go down instantly or take forever. He doesn't even have anything. That sucks.
You Denton? Savage said to expect someone on a mission to the Ocean Lab.
Denton's an old code name from my UNATCO days, but it seems to have stuck.
I have a map of the facility. Also, you can use my login, A. Pinkerton, password Antennapedia. You will need it for the computers in the URV bay.
Thanks. You one of the scientists Savage lost to Majestic 12?
My situation here is temporary. I still report to Gary Savage.
Why do you stay? They have a gun to your head?
You could say that. They have us doing standard experiments on marine animals. Homeotic stuff.
Doesn't sound too sinister.
Either they don't know what to do with us, or the significance of the data is a well-kept secret.
Oh, hang in there.
Tell Gary I'd do it again, no questions asked. The serious research around here went on in the Ocean Lab. You can imagine our jubilation when we heard about the accident. It seems Majestic 12 lost everything they were doing down there. You can imagine our jubilation when we heard about the accident.
Regulations forbid us from talking to outsiders. Non-technical personnel must stay in the common areas. I can't help you. Oh, you won't find anything in here. I can't help you.
If you say so. Now that's the Ocean Lab schematic. We'll be going there eventually. But that's not where we are right now. That's a different map entirely. I guess this is where the MIB came from. Yeah, actually this is the platform where I was, sniped the guy with the Gep gun. Looks like it goes all the way around, and hello there, buddy. Nice to see you. And he has a law. Sniper rifle would have been more useful. But I guess there's nothing more to do about that. Now, the correct way to go is down, of course. So I figure let's check up first. Roof access. Nothing much up here, aside from a bunch of what I assume are anti-collision lights and the same UN-001 satellites that are on every satellite fixture in this entire game. I guess the United Nations must make those things in giant blocks or something. Let's see where the rest of this upper path leads. You know what? Never mind. I know where it leads. It leads to that catwalk above the control center, and that leads back to the entryway, so there's really no need after all.
Definitely somebody.
Alright. Now in this module, we've got the ladder that leads into the water. That is being patrolled by the scuba divers, but who cares about them? I certainly do not. Oh yes, and there's also this. You may recall there was a sniper on one of these modules. Just so happens to be this one. Now it's kind of hard to get up there, unless you got some speed. I have no idea how that guy got up here, though. I don't even see a ladder he could have pulled up. So, last above water module, and the moon is at half full. I forget where it was at the beginning of the game. I should really look into that. It's a good chance that, like Thief 2, the game actually keeps track of the moon phases to tell you how long it's been since the game started. Also, I totally should have used that biocell, but whatever, I got 30 of them.
The URV bay is in this module. You might not hear from me again. Not sure if a microwave transmission can reach the ocean lab. You'll find out.
I wonder if Pinkerton's... Nah, it doesn't matter. Oh hey, the turrets are doing something. Yep. Looks like the guy went after the alarm. Too bad. Kind of interesting to see things from the ocean floor, though. What's all this, then?
You must be Denton.
How?
I've been in contact with Dr. Savage. If you want to take one of the mini-subs, you'll have to open the sub-bay doors. Use the security terminal, log in tech, password Sharkman.
Thanks.
Be discreet about it. It's important to X-51 that I keep my position here. We don't have time for chit-chat. You'll blow my cover. Get moving. Get moving.
So apparently half the scientists here are... Oh, hello. Apparently half the scientists here are,
Watch it. He hasn't gone far.
unwilling captives of MJ-12, and the other half are sleeper agents. Ah, here's the password again. And here's the security terminal. Sure enough, you can open the doors from here.
Leave me alone. Mind your own business. I'm working. I'm working.
Yes, by staring at a giant tube.
Who's there?
How about you? Hang on.
Leave me alone.
Alright, same voice as the other guy. Pinkerton Antennapedia. Guess their guy really likes his radio wave transmitting devices. Sounds like something bad is going down at the Ocean Lab. Let me check if this is a different password. Might be more emails on it. Nope. Same as before. Well. Now that that's done, actually the sub-bay is just through this hallway.
Mind if I borrow one of the subs?
Not the one on the right. I am replacing the rotors.
Then I'll take the other one.
You must have authorization.
I need some equipment from the Ocean Lab. Lives depend on it.
Has the appropriate authority for a security login to open the sub-bay doors. If you don't know what that means, you don't belong in here and should leave immediately.
You do realize that that's the one on the left, right?
You try to take one of those subs while the doors are closed, bam! We're both dead. The code isn't something they entrust to someone like me. Don't bother me while I am working. Don't bother me while I am working.
Well, that security terminal is exactly redundant to the last one we found. So, we'll take the mini-sub and visit the Ocean Lab next time. But that was one hell of a seawall, wasn't it? and all to protect what's left of California. So with that as a backdrop, I suppose I ought to go visit Science Corner and talk a bit about global warming. In the beginning, the Earth has been both vastly hotter and far colder than it is today. Initially, this whole area was just a cloud of atoms, too heavy and too clumped together to fall into the central star. Although even calling it a cloud implies that it was far denser than it really was. Over time, the attractive force of gravity overcame the repelling force of electromagnetism, and the atoms clumped together into larger and larger asteroids of metals and ices. And when enough asteroids fell together, the pressure of all those atoms trying to get to the center of mass liquefied its core, and eventually that heat reached the asteroid's surface, turning it into a sphere. According to the current leading theory, the last great impact occurred when an asteroid the size of Mars collided with a still molten Earth. This impact was not dead on, and so the momentum it imparted caused the Earth to spin in the 24-hour cycle it does today. In addition, the debris that was kicked up collected together and formed the Moon. Then again, it's turning out that the isotopes of both Earth and Moon rocks are so similar that they would have to have been created at the same time. And so now there's a theory that two protoplanets of approximately equal size collided with each other twice, and their debris recombined to form both the Earth and the Moon simultaneously. We're always learning new things. Anyway, point is that the Earth used to be so hot that no element on its surface was solid, and even after it started cooling, volcanoes were as common as dirt. Even now, the Earth is still very hot. The crust is nothing more than the scum that forms on top of a warm pudding or hot grease. And wouldn't you know it, but life prefers a temperature several degrees higher than what humans consider comfortable. And so go figure, but life came to be when the whole world was that warm. Life was simple, bacteria and protozoans, but it thrived. Then, the whole world turned into ice. More than once. Probably not completely, though. There's a good chance the oceans weren't fully covered, since the ocean-bound lifeforms of the time seem to have gone on without much interruption. Either way, ever since then, the Earth's temperature has fluctuated between high and low temperatures due to a wobbling orbit, changes in the atmosphere, changes in the sun, changes in the Earth's crust, and the occasional collision with asteroids and comets. Throughout most of its existence, around 80% of its total history, the Earth has gone without any frozen water on its surface, although icehouse periods have become more common in the last 10%. Right now, we're in what's called the Quaternary glaciation, during an interglacial period. That means that there are glaciers, but they are shrinking. During a glacial period, the average global temperature gets low enough that the world's ice coverage grows each year instead. According to projections, the next glacial period should begin in around 40 to 50,000 years. Except, well, on the 6th day. So here's the deal. A couple hundred years ago, we discovered that there was a whole mess of high-energy hydrocarbons stuck under the surface of the Earth. The way they got there is quite simple. Millions of years ago, certain biomes were growing so quickly that not all of the dead organic matter was getting recycled back into the environment. Instead, it would get crushed under the weight of the life above it and decay into the chemicals we call natural gas, crude oil, and coal. This is a process that happens even today. Ever hear of peat? If you dig under most wetlands in the world, you can find lumps of partially decayed plant matter, peat, which you can burn for fuel. And if we didn't dig it up, it would one day turn into coal. By digging up these fossil fuels and burning them, we undo what millions of years of life have done and returned carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Now that, in itself, is not a terrible thing. This is carbon dioxide that was originally in the atmosphere to begin with. And as I've mentioned, the Earth has gone for ages at a time without any polar ice caps. No matter what we do with fossil fuels, the world is going to be fine. Life is going to be fine. But there are still some issues. First would be the issue of sea level. Most of the world's major cities have been built somewhere near the ocean, and if or when the ice caps disappear, all of them will be underwater. Now, of course, that's not going to happen overnight. So, aside from flood disasters like what we saw with New Orleans and Katrina, there won't be any big loss of life where the seas come crashing in all at once. In fact, it might be that a full melt is hundreds or thousands of years in the future yet, even with what we're pumping into the atmosphere. But unless we can devise some sort of massive tidal wall or pressure dome, there's still going to be a hell of a lot of effort gone to waste. Second is the issue of time scale. So right now, we are about 5 degrees Celsius too hot to start a glacial period. According to the Global Temperature Index, between the years 1900 and 2000, the temperature has gone up by 0.7 degrees. Since the last glacial period ended 15,000 years ago, that means that 14% of the global temperature change occurred in the last 0.67% of the interglacial period. That is an order and a half of magnitude off, and all the projections say that that rate is only going to increase as more of the world industrializes and the greenhouse effect develops positive feedback loops. That brings us to the third issue. Generally speaking, we've stopped calling the phenomenon global warming and started to use the term climate change, not out of some sense of political correctness or spin control, but because it's a better way to describe what's actually happening. While the global temperature is slowly increasing, it does not mean that every location on the globe will uniformly increase in temperature as well, especially with how the ocean currents will be affected. I don't really have the time or the expertise to explain exactly what all will happen, but the point is that some areas will grow hotter while other areas will grow colder. And while some areas will dry out, others will get a whole lot more rain. For instance, during the last few ice ages, Africa transformed into a desert. You'd think it would get colder. No, it just gets drier. And thanks to that accelerated timescale, the changes in climate can be dramatic and disastrous. Snowstorms, droughts, floods, and all with far more frequency and intensity than in years past. And that leads to the fourth and most pressing issue, acclimation. Humans are adaptable enough that we can live virtually everywhere, so we'll be fine. But not every species is as lucky. Ordinarily, these species would have the time to follow the changes in their climate and adapt to new conditions, but under the accelerated time frame we've introduced, nature cannot always keep up, particularly among those adapted to the Arctic conditions. For instance, moose are dying because of a parasite that causes them to lose their fur and freeze during the winter. It used to be the parasite wasn't a big problem because of the cold temperatures, but as the Arctic warms up, the parasites have begun to thrive. Polar bears are also at risk because they hunt seals from sea ice, and without the sea ice, they can't eat. Other species that are potentially at risk include coral reefs and basically most freshwater ecosystems. Personal thoughts. What has science done? Thanks for joining me again in Science Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.